Mahalo. You know, I'm very privileged to be able to come and share a little bit of what we are attempting to do. I represent the Interim Provisional Government Council for the Kingdom of Hawaii. And, you know, just to know that the representatives of OHA desire to learn from us about what we stand for, what we're trying to educate people, is just very encouraging to me and to our group. You know, there's nothing worse than people who think that they know everything because they can't go anywhere. You know, and to admit that there's more to be learned is the first step, I believe, in learning. In fact, there's nothing more irritating than people who think they know everything, especially to those of us that actually do. You know. But moving right along, I just want to share a few things about our direction as the Interim Provisional Government Council. The concept is kind of foreign to me, to come in here and talk about a concept of governance, because we do not believe that we are in search of governance. Governance, by definition, is the manner or action of governing. Government, on the other hand, is the governing body of a nation, state, or community, the system by which a nation, state, or community is governed. It's our desire to restore a government, not to settle for a method of governance. So the state of Hawaii is a government. The prisoners in OCCC, when they organize themselves, that's governance. Which one do we want? We want to be a government. We don't want governance. The identity and character of a nation is revealed in its founding documents. The document for the Kingdom of Hawaii is the Constitution, its Constitution and its laws, etc. To destroy a nation, all you got to do is to nullify its Constitution and its moral character. Example, the Communist Manifesto. One of the first things that it lists as a way to destroy a government is to remove its Constitution, to water it down. This has been happening here in Hawaii. What is it that we are desiring to accomplish? First of all, we must identify and agree upon our goals before we can win. Therefore, we focus on education. A nation is first subject to its own laws, but yet the majority of the Hawaiian people, we don't know our own laws, the laws of our own kingdom. And so we try to make up new laws. We try to make up new constitutions, but we don't know what our laws already are. They may be good enough for us. In fact, they are. If we don't recognize our own government as legitimate, then you know what? No other nation will. And going to other nations and trying to get them to recognize Hawaii is futile if we as Hawaiians don't even recognize our existing government. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. If we don't honor and abide by it, no one else will. The last existing laws of the kingdom were valid at the time of the crime. And the crime, by the way, was not occupation. The crime was a coup d'etat. And if you don't understand what a coup d'etat is, let me just read a little bit out of international law from Oppenheim. It says, similarly, if a state were to change its form of government, for instance, from a monarchy to a republic, in a constitutional manner and without anything in the nature of a coup d'etat, it is unlikely now that other states would withhold their recognition of the new government. Then it says, when, however, the new head of or government, be it a monarch succeeding another monarch, a president of a republic succeeding another president, a monarch succeeding a president of a republic, or a president of a republic, a monarch, comes into power, not in a constitutional manner, but after a coup d'etat, a revolution which not need to involve bloodshed or any other event involving a break in legal continuity, the determination by other states of the attitude to be adopted toward the new head or government is often difficult. when coupled with assistance given to the rebellious party, which is exactly what happened here, it undoubtedly constitutes an illegal act of intervention. The normal condition of affairs existing between members of the family of nations is that they have expressly or impliedly accorded to one another de jure recognition, however long ago that might have occurred. So it doesn't matter that it occurred 113 years ago. The fact is that at the time of the crime, the government became impaired, and we are to reinstate that government, not start a new one. We cannot restore something we don't already have. So we have to acknowledge that we have a government, we have to accept it as it is, and then take it forward. If we don't, let's see, the Constitution of 1887, though flawed in the eyes of many, is still the Constitution and law of the realm. So the process that we are putting forward is this. We believe that the only lawful process is the internal process, not something that is brought in from the outside, from the state or from another nation, but the internal process prescribed by our kingdom's constitution and no one else's. Explain why this constitution must be used is because there is no other constitution in the kingdom right now. There is one. That's it. It's still in effect. Everything from who can reinstate and who can restart the government to how the process is carried out as far as how voting is done, how elections are handled, all of those things. We believe that this can only be accomplished by first accepting and then restoring the national character and identity of the Kingdom of Hawaii as it was at the time of the impairment. The process of that restoration is already laid out in the current Constitution. That's 1887, and must be followed in order for us not to be in violation of our own laws. The Queen was wise enough to give us a way out of the situation that we're in right now. And she knew that the Constitution itself was enough to restart the government. Our position papers with authorities lays out the process of restoration and reinstatement using our laws and our constitutional processes. As a nation, then, we do not need the permission of the de facto state of Hawaii, nor the permission of the U.S. government to handle our own internal affairs. Any attempt to undermine or subvert the lawful existing government is called usurpation. And whether it is another government that does it or people within our own government usurping the existing laws, there's no difference. It's still usurpation. We fully realize that once the existing government is no longer impaired, when it is reinstated, then we can take the prescribed methods to move our Constitution and our nation up 119 years. And then we can bring us into step with the present. So we have to restore or reestablish what is before we can move on. All of the attempts to change the Constitution or to form a new method of governance may be of good intention, but it's premature. We must first identify and then take possession of what we already have. Then we can restore and remodel. I'm going to land this plane now. So with nothing in hand, we have nothing to restore. We cannot afford another false start. We've had too many. We have to go back to the beginning now. We have to identify what is our starting point, and that starting point is where the crime was committed. And it has and will disqualify us at the end of the fight if we continue to false start. Our unity can only come if we unify around what is right and not who is right. Thank you.